Hey guys, welcome to a very special top 5, and I know one question is on the top of your heads right now, well 2 actually. Where is the crew? Wait, I thought I only do top 5s in the summertime. Personally, I wanted to do this video by myself because I don't think there's a lot of films to choose from in this particular genre, and 2, the reason why is because I wanted to make up for the fact that there wasn't a top 5 in July. But besides that, there's also one main reason why I'm doing this list, and that's because there's one little film called Blair Witch coming out this Friday. So I've decided to come out and share with you guys my top 5 favorite found footage movies of all time. Now before I get into my honorable mentions, I want to lay down some ground rules for you guys. I haven't seen every single found footage film, and I know there is a ton of them out there, but these are the films that I loved the very most. So if your films are not on here or even on my honorable mentions, I do apologize, but again, these are the films that I love the most within the found footage format. So I do have a few honorable mentions, and I'm going to go through them rapid fire, so let's name them off really quick. And I'm going to name them off my phone because I'm a professional. Starting off with Creep, next up, As Above So Below, Cloverfield, The Taking of Deborah Logan, and Paranormal Activity 3. Now that we've gone through the honorable mentions, let's get into my top 5 favorite found footage movies of all time, in my opinion.
Number 5.
Starting off this top 5 is the only foreign language film on my list, and that is the found footage zombie film Wreck. Now if you guys aren't familiar with Wreck, you're probably familiar with the English language remake Quarantine. Now I saw Quarantine first before I saw Wreck, and people have been telling me that if I did enjoy Quarantine, then I'd be scared shitless by Wreck, and they were right. If you guys don't know the story of Wreck, it follows a news reporter and pretty much like the midnight hour, the graveyard shift, as she is following this group of firefighters who have to go into this one apartment complex, and upon getting there they discover that this virus is taking people one by one, turning them to quote-unquote zombies. Now if you've seen Quarantine, it is almost shot for shot a remake of Wreck. But Wreck has a few scenes that terrified me to the core. And I gotta say, the zombie designs in Wreck are way more horrifying than they were in Quarantine. I found the scares better executed than they were in Quarantine. It also has a very scary plot twist that happens near the end of it that had me just unnerved to the core. If you guys are fans especially of zombie films, I suggest you check out Wreck. It is a very scary film, and if you're also into foreign language films, check this movie out. But if you're not into foreign language films, just at least give this movie a shot, because trust me guys, this movie is very scary. And that is why Wreck is my number 5.
Number 4.
Coming in at number 4 is the only sequel on this list, and that is VHS 2, the sequel to VHS 1. Now, I think I do remember reviewing the first VHS, and if I did, I will put the link in the description of my review of it. But I do remember liking VHS 1. Some segments did not work, but for the most part, it was a really well done horror anthology film. But here's the thing though, in VHS 1 when there was a few segments that did not work, in VHS 2, every segment worked. Starting with the one from Adam Wingard involving a robotic eye that would have him seeing, you know, demonic imagery or ghostly imagery. Safe Haven, the one about a group of journalists going into a cult, which turns out to be, I think, is the best directed tour of the entire thing. A film directed by the Blair Witch director, which involves a short film that is shot from the point of view of a zombie, which I thought was very creative. And also an Alien Summer Party short, which I thought was also very tension filled. But honestly, what I think makes VHS 2 stand out the most from all the movies on this list is that there's a lot of variety in every short, in which it goes for the different standards of horror, from zombies to cults to aliens. But honestly, in terms of horror sequels, VHS 2 takes everything that the first one did, good and bad, and it improves upon nearly everything, making it one of the better horror sequels out there. And so for that reason alone, VHS 2 is my number 4.
Number 3.
Coming in number 3 is the godfather of found footage horror films. This is the one that really just was a game changer for the found footage genre, and that is the original Blair Witch Project. Now, I did review this film with my pal Emma and her channel Spooky Astronauts, and if you want to see our review of it, click in the link in the description below. When I first saw this movie, I did not understand the hype for it. I didn't find it scary or let alone even creepy, and I thought it was just a boring film. And so when I found out that Blair Witch was coming out, the reason why that I'm doing this list, I decided to give Blair Witch Project another shot. And there was something about it on the second viewing that just changed everything for me. And Blair Witch Project is one of the rare occurrences where my opinion has drastically changed from either good to bad, bad or good. But in this case, it's me thinking it's one of the most overrated films of all time to one of the scariest films of all time. I love the fact that the film just like restrains pretty much everything and leaving it to the audiences and the characters' imaginations. And the ending, just like I said in the review with my friend Emma, is one of the most chilling endings I have probably seen in a horror film to date. Plus the fact that it just feels real. It felt real. And not a lot of found footage movies can really accomplish that task these days. And that is why Blair Witch Project, the original, is my number 3.
Number 2.
Okay, now remember when I said that the original Blair Witch Project was pretty much a game changer and it reinvented the found footage horror genre? Well, coming at number 2 is a film that I believe took what Blair Witch Project did and just escalate the terror even further, and that is the very first Paranormal Activity. Now I know a lot of people that found the first Paranormal Activity boring, but not in the case for this guy. I was truly terrified by the first Paranormal Activity film. Now, if you don't know the original Paranormal Activity film, it follows a couple, Katie and Mika, as they move into this new apartment building. Well, I don't know if they just move into it, but they've been living there for quite some time. And after some time, after hearing some noises going in the night, Mika buys a camera and plants it in their bedroom to see what's going on, and what follows is some truly terrifying stuff. What I love about the first Paranormal Activity is the fact that the scares do not start off right away. It starts off with some character building, but as the nights go on, the tension and the scares just keep building and building and building. The scene I always remember the most from the first Paranormal Activity is when I can't remember what night it was, but what happened was that you heard some footsteps, and they were loud footsteps, and they were kind of booming footsteps. You heard some footsteps for a little bit, and then you heard this loud growl. It's giving me chills thinking about it right now. And then you hear a pound, and then the door just slams. And that scene alone was the scene that gave me nightmares when I watched it. At first, the horror is restrained, but as the nights go along, the scares, you know, build and build and build to the point where the horror is right in your face, which I absolutely loved about this film. The reason why I prefer this one is because I feel like as the Paranormal Activity films went along, the novelty wore off, and that's because of the addition of multiple cameras. And that's the thing I love most about the first Paranormal Activity, is the fact that they only had one camera staring at Mika and Katie while they were sleeping, while everything else was in pitch black darkness. And that is where I bring in the fear of the unknown. If you like found footage horror films that at first restrain their horror, but as it goes along, the horror builds up, I suggest you guys check this movie out. It scared the crap out of me, and yeah, that's why it's my number 2.
It's number 1.
Alrighty guys, my number 1, my favorite found footage movie of all time. Now, if it wasn't for a certain film that came out a few years back, Paranormal Activity would have been my favorite of all time. Taking a break from found footage horror movies, we go into the genre of science fiction superhero films. This movie blew my mind in the best way possible, and I forgot I was watching a found footage movie while watching it. My number 1 favorite found footage movie of all time is Chronicle. When I heard about, you know, another found footage movie, I just thought, oh, another found footage movie, come on, seriously? But as I started watching the trailers, I just thought, okay, this looks pretty interesting. And then I watched the movie. This movie blew all my expectations out of the water, out of the planet, out of this freaking galaxy, should I add. Chronicle is one of the few found footage films that honestly transcends the actual gimmick of found footage, and how they make their powers of telekinesis work and their advantage of being a found footage film. They do some very inventive things. In particular, the final fight scene in Chronicle is seeing something on a scale that is really never seen in found footage movies. And they take the gimmick of not only DV cameras, but of iPads, iPhones, pretty much anything that has a camera, and they make it seem like an actual, like a cinematic film rather than a found footage film. We see a character growth from a character that we love, and we see the reason why he becomes a villain at the end. And also, for a $12 million budget film, this film has better special effects than some superhero films out there these days. All in all, 30 minutes into Chronicle, I forgot I was watching a found footage movie. I found myself watching just a great film in general. And you know what, taking all that into consideration, that is why Chronicle is not only my favorite found footage movie of all time, it's honestly one of my favorite films of all time. I absolutely love Chronicle. If you guys haven't seen Chronicle, and if you guys are looking for something different outside of the horror genre or the horror subgenre within found footage, Chronicle is that movie for you. And that is why Chronicle is my favorite found footage movie of all time. And those, guys, are my top 5 favorite found footage movies of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please comment and let me know below, what are your top 5 favorite found footage movies of all time? And also, give me some of your honorable mentions, please. Just to let you guys know right now, my Blair Witch review is coming soon, but it will not be on this channel, but it will be on my friend Emma's channel, Spooky Astronauts, as a part of a collaboration. So, if you guys want to see my review of Blair Witch, please subscribe to her channel or I'll leave an annotation right there. If you guys enjoyed this top 5, please like and share this video. Click right here. And as always, until the next video, I will see you guys next time.